Hello, and welcome to another edition of Tate Talks. Not to be confused with the other editions, high school Tate Talks, because that no longer counts. So here we are, and with me today is a 20-year-old male, single and ready to mingle. He has worked in the lawn care field for many years at Spring Creek Landscape and mows lawns on the side. He is also a volunteer firefighter. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Of course. How are you doing today?
Great, great. Got rained out today, but overall it was a good day.
Good, good. Glad to hear it. So, how long have you worked with lawnmowers?
About 10 years. I started out mowing when I was about 10 years old and kind of worked my way up, and I was going to start my own business, and then the boss said we can go into business together, so I run the lawn care side for Spring Creek, and he runs the landscaping side.
So cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
For a 20-year-old man, that's
It's
pretty
fun. I love it.
good. So, you said you work with mowers, so do you repair them?
I do, yes. We change the blades. I sharpen the blades myself for work, and sometimes I help Dad do it.
Okay. So, you would understand the hassle of trying to remove a lawnmower blade.
Yes, especially with zero turns.
Yes?
Zero turns, it is a pain.
Okay.
Unless you have a lift that you can lift it up on, it is a pain. What we do at work is we have to take a bobcat and we put the front tires of it and the loader of it, and we lift it up, and I get on a creeper or
Okay.
something like that, or even if we don't have a creeper, I get on my back, and it seems like you got to have about 8 hands to be able to undo that, because you got to undo the screw. You got to have something to hold the blade so they don't spin when you're trying to unscrew the nut.
Right, right. For our audience, could you maybe tell what's the difference between a zero turn and a conventional lawnmower?
Yes, okay, so a zero turn, it doesn't have a steering wheel.
Okay.
A zero turn, it has 2 bars like this, and
Okay.
yeah, yep. So you turn one way and it'll go this way, you flip them this way and it'll go this way, and if you just want to go forward, you just push them both forward.
Excellent.
And if you want to go backwards, you just pull them both backwards. And then the 2 front wheels, they just spin.
Okay.
So they're just free spin, and the back tires are what you use to drive and turn. Where on a conventional mower, like a garden tractor, you have a steering wheel. So your front tires will turn you,
Okay.
and
yeah.
then your back tires will you'll just use to drive.
Right. Do you prefer 360 over conventional?
I do.
Yeah.
You mow a lot faster with one of those.
I can imagine.
With our yard, the yard that my parents actually have, we tried one out a couple years ago, and it takes us usually about 2 hours to do it with our conventional mower, garden tractor, and we tried out a zero turn, and it cut down time to about 45 minutes.
Wow.
So it does change the difference in time. You want to be careful you don't go too fast, because sometimes the blade speed will not catch up with how fast you're going, and it won't cut the grass, and it'll just lay the grass right over. So that's one thing you got to watch out for.
Okay. So would you say for a company or just a group of individuals to produce a detachable lawnmower cutting blade would be beneficial?
Yes,
Would you say that?
yes it would. It'd cut down on time on maintenance,
Okay.
so you wouldn't spend as much time changing the blades. For me, it usually takes me about 20 minutes to take the blades off after setting up and everything. About 20 minutes to take the blades off at work, and then you got the time of sharpening them if you don't already have blades already sharpened, ready to go.
Right.
Most companies have several sets of blades that they already have sharpened, so they'll sharpen them in advance, and they just pull the old blades off, and they'll pull the new blades off the shelf and put them right on there. So that does cut down on time too, but a lot of the time that it takes is taking the blades off of it.
Right. I don't know about you, but when I have to do it, I got to reach over the deck, and I got to put another hand under the deck.
Yes.
And I got to work those two things together, and usually
Yes.
scrape myself.
Yes.
You know, so usually
Yes.
like lines of
My arms get beat up quite a bit. Yes.
Yeah.
How I usually do it right now is usually they're so darn tight that I take a block of wood and I take the blade and I figure out which way it's going to spin when I start to loosen the blade or start to loosen the nut, and I'll block it so it doesn't spin with that block of wood.
Okay.
And then I'll break it loose. Usually I have to get a breaker bar. So a breaker bar, you put it on your wrench and it gives you a little more leverage. So I usually do that to break it off.
Okay.
And then after that you can really do it by hand after you get it broken loose. But again, there you still got to have several hands to be able to do that, because you got to hold the blade up so it doesn't fall on your arm, but then you also got to be able to unscrew the nut at the same time.
Just a hassle, and engineers today just need to solve it,
Yeah,
make it better.
yeah, I agree. Especially for big companies that mow a lot of yards, they get behind, and that's kind of the last thing to think about. Sometimes they forget about having to change the blades, and they go to a customer's yard and they mow it, and they usually have to mow over it several different times to be able to get it to cut level because the blades are so dull because they get so busy, and
Yeah.
that eats into their profit. It does.
And before we leave, how often do you change your blades?
Depending on the style of blades that I have, or a yard that I'm at.
Okay.
If there's a lot of stuff in the yard that I'm hitting with the blades, and I know my next 2 or 3 yards are going to be like that, I try to do it after every 3 mows. Sometimes I'll let them go about a month, depending on if I have a lot of stuff that I'm hitting, like sticks and bark and stuff like that.
Right.
Or if there's a lot of weeds. Weeds also, the grass is not the hard part for the blades. It's not what wears them down. It's all the weeds and bark and stuff like that that you hit with them.
All right, well, thank you again for coming along.
You're welcome. Thank
This
you
is
for having me.
again Tate Talks. Good night, and have a pleasant tomorrow.